This is Kal Kat, the Kal Katster, bringing to you the Clarabelle Movie Awards of 2015 films. Having just seen the Hateful Eight, Clint Cowpoke. There were some names that were off in that review, but yeah, we fixed it on the blogger review, so you can go there and check that out. So names we didn't realize. These are the Clara Award winners, and here they are. Here are the best movies of 2015 that just passed. Oscar is probably going to completely ignore this list. I mean, totally. It'll be similar to the MTV Music Awards, though, because they will not ignore this list. We're sellouts. Anyway, here we have the best animated film of the year will be Inside Out, because The Good Dinosaur and Shaun the Sheep, although runners-up for Shaun the Sheep for being not really a talkie but a silent film, is interesting, and for it being close. Inside Out hit all the right chords and did everything right. There were scenes in The Good Dinosaur that are actually more emotional, but Inside Out properly nearly manifests the best picture and the feeling, the story you get, the empathy and whatnot, and the sympathy that makes it work in pretty much every way. And as an animated film, as a Pixar film, it strikes the right chords, hits the right notes. Make another musical analogy, and it is the music that makes the movie. Inside Out is an animated feature of the year on this list. Next we come to Best Comedy of the Year, Spy. Spy will be the best comedy of the year. The runner-up is Trainwreck, which starred a guy who looked like the guy from Big Bang Theory, but wasn't. It also had the Saturday Night Live lady. It was funny. It's a sort of a female Austin Powers. It was not the greatest movie of the year. The jokes in Kingsman are similar ideas, dorky spy guy, but no, this movie is clearly a better comedy than that one, and better written, paced, and better than Trainwreck. Trainwreck's not really on the list, except that there weren't very many comedies, so we just threw it on there. Worst comedy would probably be in that category, if there was one, would be Ted 2. Yeah, Pixels is trying to be a fantasy. That's probably the worst fantasy. But best comedy of the year is going to be Spy, according to this list. Okay, yeah. The best science fiction film of the year. Science fiction film or fantasy film is very important to the Clarabelle Awards, or the Clara Awards. They're always doing that, and this time there's no exception. The Martian has taken off with science fiction film of the year because of how it is done and structured. It's just the Star Wars 7 is a good sequel, a very competent sequel, would follow up. It's winning a lot of money, but The Martian was so well done that it just blew that away. Star Wars is there. Mad Max Fury Road is there. And it's a very close contender. Mad Max is very close. However, Mad Max, like Star Wars, are genre films, and not everybody's going to get it. Whereas the guy trapped on Mars, everybody gets a guy trapped somewhere. So that's very universal appeal to it. So we're gonna be sellouts and say, okay, this movie's making almost $1 trillion. We're gonna bigger than Avatar and Titanic before it, and we're just gonna say, yeah, it's The Martian. It's just too big. It was a blogger guy who got famous, but he was also a scientist, so it's not just any blogger guy. He was famous. He had other traits. Yes, they're trying to make it like, oh, he just was discovered. It's like, no, he knew people. Yeah, good movie, solid movie. Ridley Scott, director. I'm not doing directors or actors this year, though, so you take what you get. Daisy Ridley for actors. But I'm not really doing that, because I know they're not going to rate Star Wars at the Oscars. They're not. They're probably not going to rate The Martian either. They're probably going to say, oh, we'll nominate it, but it's not going to win because it's not talky. It's a science fiction movie. It's one of those things. They might nominate it, but it's not going to. If they give it Best Picture, I would be surprised. Even though it's crowd pleasing, it would be interesting if they did that, because it would be the first. They would be, well, yeah. Interstellar was nominated but didn't win. Gravity was nominated and the actress won, but it's possible, because Gravity was the last time a science fiction movie was given some nods, and it has happened before, but it was several years ago. E.T. way back in the day, Jaws and stuff. But yeah, actually, to an extent, Forrest Gump is a fantasy, so you could consider that one a fantasy. That won an Oscar, but it's not science fiction. There's no aliens in it. Although maybe Forrest was an alien. It's possible. Anyway, the next one, let's say Mad Max Fury Road is a runner-up, but because of the nature of Mad Max Fury Road, it's really not. It's very much an acquired taste. It's very brutal car chase movie, very brutal, dark kind of thing. There's some stuff in it that's fun, but most audiences, even though they were interested, you don't want to sit back and play this with your family and stuff. It's not going to happen. So yeah, in that sense, like the Quentin Tarantino movie Hateful Eight, you're not going to go out with your family to see that either, because it's very dark and brooding and bloody. So yeah, Mad Max, good movie, but not crowd-pleasing. Crowd movie for everyone. Let's see, we have, next we have, let's say Star Wars 7, Jurassic World. I put Jurassic World on the list only because it was a competent, good sequel. And there weren't a lot of science fiction movies that weren't that competent, so, but it's The Martian. So then we come to, and really, Mad Max isn't a science fiction. It's really a thriller. Unfortunately, the other movies bumped that off. So it's a thriller. I'm going to say it's runner-up, though, so go, get it. Watch it. Yes, Mad Max would be second on that list, too. It got bumped out by the current Tarantino movie. I've seen The Hateful Eight, and this late-release movie that came out 2 days in red release before the end of the year, I've seen it, is a better movie than Mad Max Fury Road, in the sense that it's a better crowd movie. It's not crowd-pleasing in the sense that you'll have necessarily bringing your family to see it, but like Mad Max, they're both paced with a similar sort of thing. Mad Max is a more breakneck action-adventure thing, whereas Tarantino's movie is a quieter movie with a lot of talking and dialogue and people double-crossing each other, very much like Reservoir Dogs and some of the other ones that he's done. And Django Unchained was more of a comedy. This was more of a dark, sort of gritty thriller horror movie, and thriller and horror movie are kind of together. It wins thriller horror movie. The Hateful Eight wins thriller horror movie over Mad Max. Mad Max is a close second, a very close second. It's a very hard decision to say, oh, this one should win over it, but I think actually it does. It's a better movie than Mad Max. Mad Max is a fun thriller adventure. It can win in other categories, but not thriller adventure. It does become thrilling in the last half an hour. But yeah, in terms of your car chase action picture, way better than Furious 7. Way better. So yeah, but it's still a genre thing, still a niche thing, still a cult classic redone, still a remake. And this one's homages to other westerns and things, but it's not a remake like Django Unchained was. So here we have, let's see, a nod to Tarantino and J.J. Abrams for director. And we come to Best Picture of the Year. And although Mad Max is close, The Revenant, which is not a word, that's coming out, that I guess was released in some theaters just before Christmas holiday, so they could say, like, oh, no, it's a 2015 movie. The Revenant is not here yet, so it's a 2016 movie as far as we're concerned. It's next year. So, there we go. It's this year, that is. And thus, it's next year, and no one's going to notice it. So, no Revenant. Let's see. Inside Out was a close second for Best Picture of the Year, as was the Star Wars movie. But it looks like The Martian is going to pull off not just science fiction, but Best Film of the Year. The Martian has won Best Film of the Year at the Clarabelle Awards. The Martian. Yeah, it's just better than the other ones. And these are the ones we saw. So if there's any dramas that we didn't see, tough. They're not there. We're not going to rate a movie there. Unless it's the worst film of the year. And now we come to the next list. The worst film of the year. And look down the list to see the lovelies. It's the worst film of the year will go to Point Break 2015. Even though Gem and the Holograms, from what I've seen of it, looks atrocious, and Pixels looked even worse, and somehow like missed the point of being fun. And apparently Adam Sandler thought, yeah, they had cheat codes back then, right? Didn't he remember? No, they didn't. Old Pac-Man game. I should do a review of Pixels at some point, ripping it, but not yet. It was bad, but. And Saving Christmas was a 2014 movie. We can't rate it. Sorry, it was last year. But but it was way back. So yeah. And The Interview was also 2014, so that one's not in there. Yeah, that was bad too. But no. Apparently, this Point Break sequel is really bad. Fantastic Four was bad, and although Jupiter Ascending, you could say, was the worst sci-fi of the year. It really wasn't if you've seen Pixels. That's worse. Jupiter Ascending at least had some unintentional laughs, whereas Point Break apparently has none. It's just painful to watch. Yeah, I was not too thrilled about the original Point Break, actually, and I don't know why they did a remake. They didn't have to make a remake of that. Why did they do that? Anyway, yeah. So, the actual Oscars comes around late February 2016. The Oscar award. We will have an Oscar vlog this year again, and we'll comment on the Oscars as they come in. And yeah, so, but I can't imagine them coming up with too much. It's 2016 now. You Oscar people can't say this month, January 2016, that oh, we suddenly found like 15 new dramas to release at the last second. No, you guys are screwed. This year, it's going to be like, oh, here's this obscure artsy movie we had released in one theater in New York last week. Ha ha! Tree of Life. Yeah. That was 2 years ago. But yes, adaptation. No, adaptation was in theaters. But yeah, yeah. But that was several years ago. But yeah, that was 2003. Why am I going on about that one? That was a long time ago. But yeah, Tree of Life. I Heart Huckabees. There's another one from a couple of years ago, 6 years ago, I think. But yeah, so yeah, I will accept my Oscar acceptance speech for my theatrical thingy. Tarantino. Yes, it's fun that he was doing performance art when he was on the news shows. He was actually reading his lines from the movie, but they didn't get it because they hadn't seen the movie. I've done that. I've like said lines from movies and people had no idea what I was talking about. And then I'd stop and go like, this movie, right? Kind of like the comedian in that recent Sisters movie. Except I'm funnier than the guy in the Sisters movie. It's like, hands down, I'm funnier. It's like, I wouldn't have said, Starcase, get it. I would have done a better job. Say hello to my little friend. They would have known, yeah, right away. Scarface, okay. Playing charades. But, better at charades than they are. But yeah, there you go. There's the Clarabelle Awards, our winners. 2016 now, but it was for 2015. Yeah. Yeah, the 88th Oscars is coming up. That's it. So, there you go.